Not the best, but not terrible. Welcome into the PHNX Cardinals halftime report. Johnny Venerable, Bo Brock, Damian Anderson, Frank Sanders. We're at halftime, Mexico City, Monday Night Football. Arizona Cardinals trail the San Francisco 49ers 17-10. And I like what Corey says in the chat, Bo. Def not the worst, not the best either.
Yeah, and Calvin says it could be worse, right? I think everybody's feeling that. The one turnover is the big difference maker here, right? The off James Conner's hands. You probably wish you could put 2 on that one. Knock it down at least if he's not going to pull it down. And that seems to be the big difference.
Right.
I mean, we do see a San Francisco 49ers offense that you would like to see a little bit slower and maybe not getting as many chunk plays. Guys, how do we think Vance Joseph can maybe slow them down in the second half?
Well, I think that they could manufacture some pressure. I mean, we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo sit in the pocket and just wait, dissect, and do whatever he wants to do with the football. You need to make him uncomfortable. You need to find ways to just disrupt his timing and get him off target, right? And then I think that you do that by manufacturing pressure, because what we've seen as of yet hasn't worked out, guys.
Well, and James Conner is getting a lot of heat, rightfully so. So they cut Eno Benjamin. They say, here, James, it's your backfield. And James goes out there, and he has a rough first half. Now, Frank, San Francisco's got the #1 rush defense, but then the dropped catch that was a pick then was one-handed by James. How do they get this run game going? Is it even possible given the state of the Cardinals' O-line?
Honestly, I think that what they're trying to do is, trying to find the lanes and find out what works.
Yeah.
We're not really running counters and traps. We're moving the ball just enough. 3 yards in a cloud of dust every now and then.
Dortch?
Well, that would definitely. If you get the ball to Greg Dortch a little faster, that might help tremendously. But I think that just watching our offense, it's in the first half, it's a bend, don't break. You kind of find out what the defense is doing to you, what plays are working. And we found a couple of plays that are working. So you just you got to stick with that, realize that is a tough defense. These guys are moving fast. They're fast flowing. They are downhill defense. They're bringing the wood. But I'm proud of our guys because they're not backing away from that. They're matching their energy. It's just we're just a couple of plays here or a missed tackle here from really breaking a big play.
The offense, Bo, looked like they got going in the second half behind Greg Dortch. Hopkins seems like he's open just about any time Colt McCoy wants to go there. The issue then becomes, though, like we saw at the end of the half, like they don't have a hurry-up offense. Certainly they have no mobility outside the pocket without Kyler Murray. This defense, to me, is very much bend it, don't break, very susceptible to yak right now. The tackling has to be better. I look at Christian McCaffrey, 5 for 31, 6.2 yards per attempt. Vance Joseph needs to clean that up because this Cardinal offense is not built to play from behind.
No, it's not. And you don't have the ability to kind of throw it downfield, right? You've got to really rely on your playmakers making big plays and busting out, just as we've seen with the San Francisco 49ers on offense. Look, maybe you can't get the run game going, but I think Colt McCoy, as far as his arm, getting the ball just in the playmaker's hands, maybe along the right line of scrimmage, that might be just as good as a run, right? As far as just, we saw that with Dortch. He catches the ball kind of underneath, and then he busts out for, 40-plus yards. Big play.
Biggest play of the year.
Exactly. For the Cardinals to get right back in this game. Good bounce-back drive for the Arizona Cardinals on offense. I see a lot of Colt McCoy slander in the chat. You guys are killing it, but as far as the Colt McCoy, I think he bounced back with this offense. Passing close to 74%. He's going up against one of the top defenses in the NFL. Let's remember that they get paid too, and they got some playmakers on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and we just saw, unfortunately, at the end of that half, that sack by Nick Bosa. And I mean, what do you have, 9.5 coming into this game?
Yeah.
So, and you knew that they could only bend, but don't break for so long, right? They did a great job against the Rams last week, and coming into this week, I think everyone knew that it was going to be a different story. But you have to be, I'd say, optimistic how they played this first half, given everything that's happened, the phantom face mask, the taunting penalty, and the quick scores by, not necessarily quick scores, but the long drives and scoring drives by San Francisco. But to see the Cardinals respond, go out there, score, and you see pieces, right? I think that's everything that we wanted from them this season is just consistency. We want to see consistent drives, guys.
Yeah, I don't envision a scenario in which the Cardinals win this game without making Jimmy Garoppolo forcing mistakes, because he was way too comfortable. And even if the Cardinals are able to go out and score a couple more times in the second half, the way this Niner offense has been going, I don't really remember a punt outside of maybe the first couple possessions in the first quarter. But then the second quarter, they explode for 17 points. They have to get edge pressure from somewhere. There's phantom face mask penalties. I would argue the Cardinals have been held on several occasions that weren't going to be called. They do
the
not.
Taunting was terrible.
Yeah, with D-Hop.
Yeah, I mean, both those penalties were terrible.
It feels like, there's an agenda. Maybe there's not an agenda. I don't know. But here's the problem. LVL7 in the chat brings up, well, Marcus Golden is washed. I'm saying is Dennis Gardeck versus Trent Williams is not a good matchup for this team. That's a losing matchup. I would love to see somebody like Majay Sanders, Cameron Thomas look good on the perimeter. These young guys, Frank, have shown to be more explosive, whereas like we know what we're getting from this veteran group at outside linebacker. They've got like one sack apiece. Devon Kennard doesn't play here anymore, but it feels like he's still out on the field for this team. So to me, it's the edge pressure. Maybe hell, even send Isaiah Simmons after Jimmy G.
Look, everything you guys are saying is all desired, but you have to realize that this type of offense and how explosive they are, you got to kind of move things around. And it's not always just getting pressure on Jimmy, because sometimes you got to be aware of the underneath routes that they're running with all these guys. And a lot of those catches that they caught was underneath routes or delayed routes where guys went deep. And so you got to kind of work the magic on it. I think VJ has done a very good job. You're talking about 186 yards total offense from them, 185 yards total offense for the Cardinals.
Yeah,
and they're only up by 7 points. So, what everyone said, it could be worse, and it's not that. We're at a neutral site. Well, it's not neutral because it's damn near 75% more 49er fans there, and the guys are still responding. The second half, we should see something different. We should see the adjustments that's made, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. If we can get some manufactured pressure on Jimmy G, he threw the ball high a couple of times, so that gives us a chance. That gives us hope that he's missed some of the receivers sometimes, so those guys will get that back. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what the second half has hold this team.
I think that Kyle Shanahan, this Niners offense, is going to try to come out and deliver a knockout punch. Getting in the opening drive, Vance Joseph, that defense has got to be ready. They've got to put forth one of their best drives defensively and get that Niners offense off the field. But let me say this. How big of a loss was it on that? Was it the first play from scrimmage? Rondale Moore, the reverse. He pulls his groin, or he has the groin injury. D-Hop showed up, right? 7 catches, 77 yards. Who needs to step up on this offense to kind of complement D-Hop?
Well, listen, right now, Greg Dortch, 4 for 64, including, I think, the biggest play of the year offensively from scrimmage, 47-yarder, which was basically all yak. He's fine underneath. We've said it from the start of the season. He is a nice NFL slot receiver, and he gives you real legitimate upside. True. I look at somebody, Trey McBride's got 3 targets, 3 catches. Now, they're not big explosive plays. You miss Zach Ertz. I'll tell you who needs to step up right now. James Conner. James Conner, less east and west, more north and south, because right now, the yards are not going to come easy. You can get 3-4 yards on this Niner defense up the middle, and then I think it'll become easier for Colt McCoy, play off of that, mix in the play action. I don't know if James Damon is trying to do too much, but it felt like there were yards he left on the field in the first half.
Absolutely, John. I think you hit the nail, on the head. I mean, it's more he's trying to wiggle. And in a game that's wet and inclement weather, you got to get north and south. You got to be very intentional with your actions. And just to seeing guys, I mean, they're number 1 in defense against the run for a reason, because there's, Fred Warner and company, Nick Bosa, list goes on. These guys are fast, they're physical, and you saw that from the onset of this game. James Conner needs to get those 1 and 2 and 3 yards, and we hear some of the things that the players are talking about. Win that first down, get positive yards on first down. Defense, get stops, and those are some of the keys that I want to see from this team this second half. James being authoritative, being physical, but running north and south, right? And the offense just getting pressure.
I don't want to put no bug out there, but I know Benjamin would. That's what he did. He ran straight downhill. Right. He ran. He gave us extra 6 and 7 yards. He bounced off guys.
Right. Let's talk about guys on the roster.
But we're not going to talk about that. Look, it looks great. But let's go back. This is a badass defense.
Yeah.
But you can expose them in their secondary.
And I think that's the part that we got to really work on.
But you can't dance with them.
Right, you can't.
Like you can't
gotta
be
go
side to side. Like that plays a mute point at that play. You have to go right at them and let your guys be physical too. They get paychecks and they get opportunities to play this game at a high level. You got to let cards be cards, because we've seen it sometimes, like that 1.5 or 2 seconds that we saw Colt have last week. He's not getting that.
Yeah.
Right? And when they see blood in the water, that's when those defensive linemen salivate, and they know that they could get after the quarterback and have a day. And you have to be able to mitigate that by running the football. And that's north and south, guys.
Johnny, who's making a play for the Cardinals? Offensive, defensively, to change this game?
I'm going to say defensively. I think both safeties, Jalen and Buddha, are playing very well, very physical. Almost came up with an interception right before half. I think we get a Jimmy G overthrow, Jalen Thompson interception sometime in the third quarter to swing the momentum. A reminder, we will be back immediately following the conclusion of Cards Niners Monday Night Football in Mexico City. Thanks for watching.